installment of Coding Mama. Today we will be discussing how to remove duplicates from a sorted array. Now this is actually a LeetCode problem number 80, so it's called Remove Duplicates from Sorted Array 2. So I'll bring up the instructions that LeetCode gives, and they are that given an integer array of nums sorted in non-decreasing order, remove some duplicates in place such that each unique element appears at most twice. The relative order of the elements should be kept the same. Since it's impossible to change the length of the array in some languages, you must instead have the result be placed in the first part of the array nums. More formally, if there are k elements after removing the duplicates, then the first k elements of nums should hold the final result. It does not matter what you leave beyond the first k elements. Return k after placing the final result in the first k slots of nums. Do not allocate extra space for another array. You must do this by modifying the input array in place with big O of 1 extra memory. So it gives us the custom judge and then the examples, which are particularly helpful. So if your input list is 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, the output should be 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. And it says that it doesn't matter what comes after those first 5 elements. So going back to this example here, just to dissect that, we have number 1 appearing 3 times, so therefore we know that one of these ones needs to be removed in place such that the output order is not changed. And again, so our output of nums could look like this. It could have something out here. It doesn't matter what comes after the k elements of the list. We just need the first, in this case, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions to be filled by the correct sequence of numbers. So let's think about how we can do that. So the first thing that we should do is identify what numbers need to be removed. So for I in range, length of nums, we should use an if loop to say if nums.count, so it's going to count up the number of whatever we're looking for in the list, in this case nums I, so I'm looking at whatever nums character is at that particular position. If that is greater than 2, I need to do something special. And now what can we do with that? I don't want to change the length of my list at this point. Here, let me make this a little bit more space so you can see it better. I don't want to change the length of my list, so I'm actually just going to change the value at that particular position. So I'm going to change nums I, and I'm just going to make it equal to a blank set of quotations. And the reason I'm doing this is if I begin to change the length of the list by using something like pop or remove, I'm going to be changing the range over which I can iterate, and it will throw an error. So all I'm going to be doing at this point is removing, let me just do return. I'm going to do print because it won't like if I do return. Print nums and see what that looks like. Let's just see what that looks like so you can get an idea of what's going on. Nums. Oops. Nums. And let's actually use the example test cases just so you can see more simply. I had a more advanced example in there. I was checking something earlier. Okay, so now I've put in a quote, empty quotes there, and obviously that cannot stay. So to get rid of it, I am going to use another for loop. So for I, and actually we can change it so we make sure we know that this is a different type of loop. For I in range nums.count quotes. So it's going to count up the number of quotes we find. So in this example down here, there would just be one. So it would just go through this next step one time, nums.remove. Now I can start removing because I've specified the number of iterations I need to perform here, and it's the same number that needs quotes that need to be removed. So I'm going to remove quotes and run code. Now we get the correct answer, and we can submit this, and you can see that it is in fact the correct answer. And I actually wanted to take a minute here because, as you can see from my outputs, this was not the first attempt I did. The first attempt I did, I actually got it incorrect, and I wanted to take a minute to go over what I did wrong in that. Let's go back over here and let's see what was happening here and why it worked up to a certain point. So let's first of all run this code. And what you see is that it works for the example test cases, which is why I moved forward with submitting it. So let's go through what I originally did. So the first part of this is the same. So for I in the range of length nums, if nums.count of whatever is at position I is greater than 2, remove, so I actually removed what was at that ith position and appended the quotes. And then I went through, and the end is the same, for I in range nums.count those quotes, pop, because again, whenever I use this append, it goes to the end, so pop would be the appropriate way to get rid of it. And as you can see, superficially, this looks correct. However, there are certain instances where this will not be correct, and I will show you what that was without going through that long-winded example. Let's say I have a lot of ones in a row at the beginning. We see that it doesn't work. It will give you the wrong answer, and it actually will leave too many ones left. So there's 4 here. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the original, and I'm left with 4 when I really should only have 2. So why is this wrong? Now would be a great time to pause the video and go through the length of code just to practice your debugging. But if you're not interested in pausing the video, I'm going to bring back up my notepad here and go through what I was doing wrong. So let's say we had a list of ones. So let's do, just like in our example, let's do 8 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now let's just do a 2. So it ends with something else. So this is our list of numbers. L is equal to this list. What my original algorithm was doing was going through, and it was searching at the ith position. So it would say at I is equal to 0, 1, what is the count of that particular character? And the count when I is equal to 0, the count of 1 is equal to 8. And therefore, what my algorithm did before was it actually went through, it removed that first character, and then it appended on the end a set of quotes. And then it went to I is equal to 1 for the next iteration. And so this 1, this that was originally in the second position, is now in the 0th position. So it actually looked then at this one because I is equal to 1 now. I was no longer equal to 0. And so it would do the same thing. So the count at of that 1 now, because 1 had been removed, count of 1 is equal to 7. And so of course that would be greater than, and it would keep going through this process. But what was important was that I'm actually skipping now those initial characters since I was popping and appending. So by the time I had gone through this several times, let's say we had gone through this 4 times successfully, I would have removed the first one and appended another set of quotes, moved this and appended another set of quotes, and so at this point I is equal to 3, I is equal to 4, so we'll append another set of quotes. So now, so that one was still there, so now I is equal to 4, so 0, 1, 2, 3, I is going to look at this 2 here. I is now that 2. So we've leapfrogged over the remaining ones there. Over those ones, we're no longer going to be able to count for them. So even though there are 4 ones left, we have no way to count them, and that means no way to remove them. So that's sad. So that's why we had to adjust the code and do what I submitted for the correct answer, which is just to go through and leave everything in place until I was ready to remove those particular characters that I replaced my duplicates with. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos, and I appreciate your support very much. Have an awesome day, guys.